After 65 hours of game time, I have finally beat Expedition 33, and man, I must say it was quite the experience. It truly feels like one of those games where you almost regret finishing it, because that just means you no longer get to experience playing it. I know I can just start another playthrough of New Game Plus at a moment's notice, you know, but just that first fresh run through of the game is something that I won't get to do ever again. It's truly something special that I recommend if you haven't. Here's your message telling you that you need to, because it's got to be one of the top games of just like all time, especially like the background behind it, what went into making it, like such a small team on a small budget with a writer who had very little experience making video games or none whatsoever, and a musician that I think came straight off of SoundCloud and made like one of the best video game soundtracks ever. It's all elements that should not work. Like, all these ingredients should come together to make a pretty terrible pie, but they've actually made something phenomenal. Unbelievable that the game is as good as it is, you know, based on everything around it. It's freaking ridiculous. The biggest thing I'm running through my mind right now is like, what's going to happen next with Expedition 33 or with this studio? There are definitely certain elements playing through this game, like towards the end, where I immediately thought to myself, like, this looks like a to be continued type situation. Like, especially, like, I don't want to get into spoiler territory. There's like your little story that happens within the game, and it's very clear there's bigger things happening out, like kind of outside, like around your story, you know, your narrative. And so I'm wondering, like, if there's a massive DLC in the works, or if they're already getting the ball rolling for the next Clair Obscur game. Like, maybe this is going to be a series or a trilogy. I don't know. Whatever's going to happen. It's almost worrisome. Like, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I'm like both excited and worried, because how the heck are they going to follow up on their own work? Like, they hit the nail on the head so hard the first time. Like it was such a 10 out of 10 experience immediately. Like, I can't imagine having to live up to the hype that their own creation caused. Big shoes to fill, and it's kind of ironic because it's shoes that they created themselves, basically. Like, I just finished Expedition 33 moments ago, basically, and all it seems I can do is just sit here and think about like what to play next. I know Elden Ring Night Rain is real hot right now. I put like a dozen hours into that, just long enough to learn that I don't know if it's the game for me, because it is absolutely kicking my butt. But it has piqued my interest towards proper Elden Ring. That might be my next move, or maybe I just replay Expedition 33 with New Game Plus. I put 64 hours into it. Like, I feel like I got my money's worth, especially for a game that was so cheap. I'm gonna have this Clair Obscur hole in my heart that I don't know how I'm going to fill. Oh man, replaying the game probably won't cut it. I might just have to just move on and appreciate the time I had with the game and just move on to something else. I'm curious, dear viewer, what your thoughts are on Expedition 33, whether you have finished the game, are playing the game, or maybe you're not even considering about it and you somehow found this video I'm currently making. I have like one friend who says he's going to play it, but he just has too many other things on his playlist right now. Too many other things on the docket. Elden Ring Night Rain only being one of those. And I have another friend who just has zero interest in it. I think solely because it's it has turn-based combat, and I'm like, dude, you need to get over that like stigma. I know you can play turn-based games before. You've done it like once or twice. I know you've played like a little bit of Final Fantasy. That is such a non-issue, because it is a revolutionary take on turn-based combat, like being able to, like, the dodging and the parry mechanic, the way it involves you during your actual turn in the turn-based combat is something I haven't seen before. Like, I know it's inspired by some other things. I think that's Legends of Dragoon. It was an older game that I never played before. Maybe I'm gonna have to go back and check that out. But after the closest example I have, like modern, is is Baldur's Gate 3. And that game, phenomenal on its own right for its own reasons. But the combat, if you just don't vibe with it, it's a hard pill to swallow. As amazing as the game is, I can understand not getting into Baldur's Gate 3 simply because the combat doesn't vibe with you. But Expedition 33 does things so differently, and it revolutionizes the system so much that I think it's a real non-issue. I can't really think of a reason to not play Expedition 33. Like, I think everybody needs to get their hands on this, or like at least try to play it, because oh my god, just turn on like the easiest difficulty and then just experience the story that the developers put together. If you just can't handle the combat, then don't worry about it. Don't put any barriers up. Just put on the easiest difficulty and just go through the story, because that alone is like a 10 out of 10 experience. Now, if you were to twist my arm and make me come up with some kind of problem with the game, I will say the pacing of like your character growth seemed a little off. Like, there was a lot of extra content outside of the main story, which is great, but that means I was severely overpowered by the time I came into the final climax conflict at the end of the game. Like, the final boss, I straight up killed in a single hit, and I believe from like the loot and stuff that I was getting in that final area, I maybe should have been like level 40 or like level 50 at best, and I went in there at level 96, I think. You know, suffice to say, I was a little overpowered, and that's merely just from trying to clear out all of the extra stuff at the very end. I don't know if there's a good way to fix that, or even if the developers need to fix that, but if they had some level scaling to kind of make at least like not the whole game in its entirety, but maybe just like the final zone, if those enemies scaled to your level, it would make that final conflict a little more endearing, you know, to have a little bit more resistance. But if you disagree, I completely understand. If anyone who plays the game knows it's like a big build-up to the final fight, and there's you know, lots of going on, lots of things happening, and just steamroll all the way through it. I don't know, maybe that's the point, you know, your character and your party has come so far that they're just completely unstoppable, but it did take me out of the immersion just a bit. The game definitely has a bit of a learning curve. Like, I was struggling maybe in the first 3 to 4 hours just learning the combat and the parry mechanics, the dodge mechanic. Once you get a handle on that, then it really just, it's all uphill from there, or maybe downhill. I don't know how to use that analogy, but there were very few encounters, or I felt like it was a challenge that was like too hot to handle. Throughout my playthrough, the only times I ran into like problematic combat situations was when I was in areas I was not supposed to be, like very over-leveled areas. And to the game's credit, being in those very difficult areas, or like optional areas where the enemies are maybe like 20 or 30 levels higher than me, because of the way the combat works with being able to parry the attacks or dodge the attacks, any fight, no matter how difficult, may just be a matter of time to slowly drain their health, the enemy's health bar, because you know, assuming you get the timing right during the combat, you can just sit there and almost effectively become invulnerable. Especially if you die multiple times to the same enemy and just memorize all of their moves, you can take out almost anything, and it just becomes a matter of time with you dealing enough damage. And the reward for defeating those high-level enemies is crazy amounts of experience, and you can just skyrocket your level. That's probably why I felt so strong going into the later stages of the game, is because I was maybe objectively playing the game incorrectly and hanging out in high-level areas I probably wasn't supposed to. But it was a good time, and that's just the way I chose to play it. But that screwing around may have what led to me putting over 60 hours into the game when it was suggested or recommended that this game would be like at most 40 to 50 hours. That's what the Xbox app said, which was kind of optimistic. Maybe all the other Xbox Game Pass players are just blowing through the game like crazy, and I was just taking my sweet time goofing off on extra activities that they weren't interested in. I think it's safe to say that I got my money's worth, considering that this wasn't even a full-priced game. Well, okay, I did play on the Game Pass version, so I almost got it, for free. It's a subscription service, but whatever. But even still, the regular price of the game is below the standard, because games these days are costing, what, $70 or $80, I think is what Nintendo's trying to do. That's absurd. This game being the price it was, I absolutely got my money's worth. I normally try to equate a dollar to hour ratio. So if I'm spending $60 on a game, I want to get 60 hours of quality game time out of it. And Expedition 33, even if it's not like the longest game in the world, even if you did follow in that ratio and you spent like $50 on it and only maybe spent like 40 hours onto it, it's just such peak gameplay experience that it is just so worth it. This has been the most worth it dollar to experience ratio. I know that's incredibly subjective. I have numerous games I could probably give you as examples of that. I've spent way more money and had way worse of an experience with these AAA, or even that one crazy quadruple A game that I forgot the name of. Was that Sea of Thieves? Or I don't remember the name of that game that was like quadruple A. It was like super expensive and also failed financially. But maybe the future of games is now no longer these big mega studios from these billion-dollar companies. Maybe the future is going to be indie and these smaller developers, smaller projects, but more artisan effort put into it with more passion and more creative effort, and none of these freaking big cash cow Fortnite clones. Hopefully this is a good sign that smaller budgets, smaller studios, less manpower, making higher quality games can really throw a monkey wrench in the current system we have with these big AAA companies putting hundreds of millions of dollars into absolute garbage. And I must say, I've been under the AAA umbrella for quite some time now, and I'm just now Expedition 33 has me pondering what other smaller games have I missed out on? What other experiences did I not get to experience because I didn't accredit the game, appropriately? I remember hearing things about Shovel Knight way back when, and what was that? Or Hollow Knight? Yes, that was another indie game. And I remember seeing all kinds of videos and stuff about Undertale, and I saw just kind of saw these from a distance. I was like, oh, those are cute little things that maybe did better than anyone expected, but I'm sure things like that won't become the norm. And now here I am in 2025, maybe eating my words. Maybe it's time to go back and play some Hollow Knight, give these small-time developers more appreciation, because it looks like I might be missing out. It may look like I'm gonna have a too many games and not enough hours in the day type situation in my near future, but I am curious what your opinion is of Expedition 33, dear viewer, especially if you've completed the game, or if you're somebody who hasn't played the game yet and you're just seeing it from the outside looking in. I want to know what you have to think. So let's discuss further down in the comment section. I'll be looking forward to that. I hope you enjoyed my little rambles or maybe glaze session about the game. It's really difficult not to have positive things to say about it, because it's just something truly special. Hopefully I don't sound like I'm being paid to freaking talk about the game, because that is definitely not the case. My bank account is looking a little bare bones these days. If you did enjoy, please like the video and subscribe for more, and until the next one, this is not goodbye for good, just goodbye for now.